Two murders and a shooting keeping police quite busy this weekend. We've got details of what happened. And later on in sports, Bahamians boasting of our win at the IAAF meet this weekend. The Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition, starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Junkanoo Knowles, and welcome to the weekend edition of The Bahamas Tonight. Economic growth and debt management addressed by finance officials around the region as CARICOM's Council for Finance and Planning, also known as COFAP, met on Saturday in St. Vincent. The meeting precedes a two-day CARICOM Heads of Government discussion that begins tomorrow. Julian Reed is in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
What steps can the Bahamas and other Caribbean countries take to lower debt? It was a major discussion point at the COFAP meeting this weekend. Financial Services Minister Ryan Pinder chaired the meeting and let us in on some of the proposed strategies.
How do we access, for instance, the Chinese or even sovereign wealth funds in the Middle East, for instance, to bring lower cost of financing? And we decided to advance that proposition and look at other ways to finance some sovereign debt, to give countries a little bit more spending room to develop economic empowerment and economic progress. So that was a very good proposition. We also spoke about some of our bonds that are outstanding as a region, and how can we swap it out for lower rates and do it collectively and have more capacity in that regard.
The U.S. Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, FATCA, was high on the agenda too. Minister Pinder says it's a difficult proposition that requires a regional approach. He and High Commissioner to CARICOM, Picewell Forbes, who sat in the Bahamas chair, chimed in on that.
I think that we could, one, negotiate better positions and be able to be on one accord with respect to the laws and how we implement it, and it's only going to serve each and every country better to do so.
In the Bahamas are cognizant and are trying to be proactive in our overtures to have a basic template in place where the waivers legislation passed to be able to start some kind of implementation process come April of this year.
Of course, there's a continued push for advancing the financial services sector.
How do we ensure that our professionals have proper training, have proper certification, so they can not only work within the region, but we can export our talent to countries like in the European Union, for instance, under our economic partnership agreement, trade agreement. So we spoke about advancing the Bahamas as a center of excellence in financial services, presenting it to the finance ministers and getting their agreement and getting their support for that proposition.
New markets for tourism and diversifying the tourism product were also discussed. Prime Minister Christie arrives here in St. Vincent on Monday for the 25th Intersessional CARICOM Heads of Government Conference. High on the agenda, further discussion on the region's economic situation, the use of marijuana for health and medical reasons, and, as requested by the Bahamas, the situation in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Here in St. Vincent, I'm Julian Reed for ZNS Network News.
This just in from police. Authorities telling us that the body of a woman was found on Cowpen Road West late this afternoon. That's all the details we're getting right now. We'll certainly have more information for you in tomorrow's newscast, and you can be sure and tune into ZNS Radio Network for more in tomorrow morning's report. Grand Bahama authorities arrested two men ages 21 and 26 years old this morning for a shooting incident that turned into another murder for that island. Grand Bahama police went to a nightclub on Queens Highway around 2 o'clock this morning where they met a man suffering from gunshot wounds to the upper body. He was transported to the Rand Memorial Hospital and was initially listed in serious condition. But Grand Bahama police confirmed later this afternoon that the victim died at 9:45 this morning. If you can assist Grand Bahama police with any information on this incident, you are asked to contact 911 or your nearest police station. Well, police also need your help tonight with any information that can help solve another murder and shooting, this time here in the capital. Both happening on Milton Street off East Street this weekend. Authorities confirmed that a 27-year-old man was shot to the stomach and thigh on that thoroughfare around 11 o'clock Friday night. We understand the victim is detained in serious condition in hospital. Then around 9 o'clock last night, police found the lifeless body of a 19-year-old man with multiple gunshot wounds about the body on Milton Street. He was later pronounced dead at the scene. Police learned that the victim was reportedly riding his bicycle when another man, reportedly armed with a handgun, opened fire, fatally hitting him in the shoulder, side, and head. Police say the attacker then fled the scene on foot. Police are again tonight urging anyone with information on these incidents to contact 919 or your nearest police station. Well, 5 firearms, a quantity of ammunition, and suspected marijuana have been confiscated this weekend, and 5 men have since been arrested. The culprits, who police say are listed between the ages of 17 and 31 years old, were taken into custody following a special operation that occurred between 10 a.m. this past Friday and 4 o'clock this morning. We're told that all the suspects will appear in court later this week on formal charges. And a 22-year-old man is detained in stable condition in hospital tonight under heavy police guard. Police tell us they were tipped off and went to a Nassau Street nightclub around 3:30 this morning, where they saw a group of men leaving the establishment. Upon seeing the officers, one of the men reportedly ran into the club. Police pursued the 21-year-old suspect, who reportedly took a handgun from his waist and threw it to another man. Police say the 22-year-old suspect with the firearm then pointed the weapon at the police. We're told the officer, in fear of his life, shot the gunman in his right leg. Police say they also confiscated that firearm and a quantity of ammunition from the suspect. Both men are in police custody as intense investigations are ongoing. Well, the increase in the number of murders and armed robberies in the capital has once again forced the reinstatement of the 12-hour shift system for the Royal Bahamas Police Force. But there are many officers who feel that they should be compensated for the extended work hours. Minister of National Security, the Honorable Dr. Bernard Nonage, told ZNS News that he understands the request from officers and applauded them for their service to country.
What we are trying to do is to restore a semblance of normality and safety to the people of the country. And people who are police officers, that is their job. And when they join the force, they know that that is their job. We don't put people on 12-hour shifts to punish them. What we are seeking to do is to find means by which we can restore the safety of the entire community. I personally am thankful to the officers who are policemen, even those who work the regular shifts, because when they go to work, there is a semblance of risk in the work that we are asking them to do. We understand that. But we have to do what we have to do to get this country safe again.
More than 200 illegal immigrants currently housed at the Kamaica Road Detention Center will be repatriated this week amid concerns of overcrowding at the facility. 170 Haitian migrants and 2 Dominicans were apprehended by Defense Force officers on a vessel near the western entrance of the Nassau Harbor on February 26th. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Immigration, Cleola Hamilton, says over 300 immigrants are currently being housed at the detention center, where renovations are presently taking place to expand and improve the facility.
We are trying at this moment to get most of the Haitian nationals out, about 227 on Tuesday. On Friday, we're going to see if we can get the Cubans out. But our aim and objective is to have the detention center the minimum numbers, yes. And so we are trying to get them out as quickly as possible.
Well, more than $1 million was spent on repatriation exercises last year, and according to Ms. Hamilton, some $1.2 million was allocated in the budget to fund repatriation this year. She says maintaining the center's operation and funding repatriations are expensive and tend to stretch government resources. As to how much the allocated budget has already been spent, Hamilton said she was unsure.
It's always stretched, but we find a way to deal with it. I see it as really a financial black hole, but as far as how much already went in, no, I can't give you definitely.
Well, Junkanoo enthusiasts celebrated their achievements during the past Junkanoo season last night at the Malia Nassau Beach Hotel. The annual award ceremony organized by the Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence allows the Junkanoo Committee to stimulate a spirit of camaraderie. Cleopatra Murphy has the story.
While victors of the New Year's and Boxing Day parades, the Valley Boys and other winners collected group and individual awards, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie spoke of the importance of the cultural celebration, noting that the ties that bind the Junkanoo community are greater than those that divide.
We come together to pay our respects and appreciation to those who won, but in the process of doing that, we are showing and expressing our appreciation to those who participated.
Celebrations turned to a moment of reflection as Prime Minister Christie paid tribute to Junkanoo icon, the late Winston Gus Cooper, and charged his group with carrying on his legacy.
You must know, if you are in that group of leaders of the Valley Boys, the obligation that is now doubled and trebled in the absence of Gus, for you to share as leaders of the Valley Boys to ensure its continuity moving forward into the future.
Mr. Christie noted that culture evolves, taking the opportunity to speak about Carnival that will be introduced this year. The nation's leader hopes to see talented Junkanooers turn the festival into economic activity for themselves.
Some of the best people at matching colors, at shaping cardboard, at twisting wires, at designing. People in Trinidad and people in Rio and people in Atlanta where they have Carnival and people in Miami and people at Carabana in Canada, they make hundreds of thousands of dollars from that activity. And the Bahamas will not get left.
The Prime Minister maintains the festival will not interfere with Junkanoo, adding that the country must do everything to preserve its Junkanoo culture for the benefit of future generations. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
All right, when the weekend edition continues, Bahamian music thoroughly enjoyed by patrons of the Andros Music Festival yesterday. We've got that story and more after the break.